Well, the thing is, I did actually have some breadcrumbs that people were warning me could have got me figured out, and I don't know enough about how doxing works, and it's like I don't want to wait until I'm doxed to realize I could get doxed. From what I'm hearing, like dude that called Rev G called from his job, I'm like, how the fuck do they be doxing people? Like, is this some hacker shit? I don't know. Like, I don't know enough about it. I can stop thinking that niggas is like 007. Well, and the other thing was like, I have these mental health issues, and my job has been extremely supportive. And so, because they've been so good to me, I would just be really embarrassed to be bringing them any heat. Like, I just feel like, I don't want to be spitting in the face of people who have bent over backwards to help me.
Anti-Afro Svengalis, I want to make sure we're on the same page at this point. What you heard was from August 2021. Obviously, the voice is Carrie Anne's. Now sit back and listen in and make sure you look at the screen for the dates. I'll go ahead and just let you know we're present day. So stay tuned and I will return.
And let me say what I said the other day again. Anti-Afro Svengali is a stupid old who doesn't know what she's talking about. And before she contributed in whatever way to me getting doxxed, let it be known she told the people I'm not a teacher, I'm not a veteran. She is fucking obsessed with me. Now, you're a dumb old bitch, Anti-Afro Svengali. And the fact that you slander my name repeatedly saying I haven't accomplished all the things I've accomplished shows how much you know what the fuck you be talking about. So you haven't been in the military. You should stop speaking on shit like you have, because I have. Defrauding Charlatan has. And you have not. So maybe you should speak to the very limited channel of things you actually know anything about. But you can't. This the same goofy old bitch, Anti-Afro Svengali, the same stupid old, crazy old dumbass gonna tell us she just as good as a doctor because she do continuing credits.
She doesn't know. She just says stuff to get a rise out of people. You said she didn't get a rise out of Photon, not with those bottom row inside. Dang. Chomper. Chomper. Oh gosh, like Pac-Man with an overbite. Oh my god, underbite. Oh my gosh. A lot of people like talking about my teeth, but yeah, keep on. That's fine. That's, there's some things that you can improve and some things you can't. I'm like, y'all got all this talk. Hit the Cash App. Hit the Cash App. Help me pay for those veneers. Yeah. Hit the Cash App. And then even like once everything is fixed, oh, look at him, he got it fixed. Okay, it doesn't matter.
Veneers, honey, $50,000 smile dollars, and you are jealous about it. I knew you when you had the right teeth, honey. Buy you a house and a car.
I had to throw that one in, Gerald. Especially at the very end, the person is in need of a house and a car and talking about your teeth. That's in addition to Carrie Anne, who runs her mouth with bottom row incisors and has missing teeth. I mean, the hypocrisy is absolutely unbelievable. And let me just say this briefly. I am going to continue talking about the military. I absolutely will. And by the time this video ends, I'm going to speak on the military some more. But a few other things we need to take care of. Carrie Anne clearly doesn't appreciate the support she claims she got from the school where she works. Because if she did, she wouldn't be conducting herself like this anywhere. That's just empty. Like everything else she says in these YouTube streets. Carrie Anne, again going off the rails. You hear her frustration level rising. It will continue to rise, and I'll tell you why. Because her expectations are unrealistic, and that she expects me and others to comply with her demands. That will not happen. I don't believe she served in the military. Just like I stated, I was not going to accept at face value that she was a teacher unless there was independent third-party verification. What she has done, replicated, let me see your handcuffs, conduct, started snatching down videos, because it's very clear she's trying to set up a scenario for her employer to try to make it appear that we out of the blue just started posting videos about her and talking about her. But she would be lying to her employer if she said she didn't post nearly 300 videos, close to all, referenced me, referenced Rev G, or other people who support us in derogatory code of conduct, violating terms on many levels. Listen, there is no argument about this. Carrie Ann failed. She will never succeed in getting me to respond or even feel the way she does. Listen to what she says and how she says it. I took off the word bitch that she was saying multiple times because YouTube is cracking down. We saw in several instances where we replayed Umar Johnson's commentary, and YouTube would come after us and say, this is community guidelines, you're going to be given a warning, or whatever they would say. But the video that Umar posted would remain as is. We don't typically go after channels. Doesn't mean that we haven't, doesn't mean we won't, but that's not our approach, because keeping a channel intact means evidence is easy to gather. And in Carrie Ann's situation, it really doesn't matter if she took down 300 videos, because essentially all of them were copied. So she would be in a position of having to lie to her employer, trying to run a scenario that she's innocent and people just started attacking her. We have her videos going back to the old channel, the first channel that she put up. This is not a situation that I'm going to spend a lot of time with, because we already decided what we're going to do. And guarantee you, we will be heard, and what we say will be taken with the utmost seriousness, as it should be. This is a person who has no business in a classroom. Attacking, harassing, lying on, slandering, and she wants to turn around and say she's being slandered? That is not slander if you don't believe what someone says. Anybody ruining their reputation, in this instance, it would be Carrie Ann herself. We're not taking responsibility for that. She can run around and say whatever she wants, because everything she says, 98% of it, is self-implicating. She has no reciprocal conduct to report. She's the one who has gone 2 years, didn't care what anybody had to say, always finding some way to attack people based on protected class issues. And that's Carrie Ann's issue that she will have to deal with. None of us are in any trouble. They're not going to ignore what we say. We're going to do exactly what we stated we would do. Those are her consequences to bear. My energy will be spent elsewhere addressing the atrocities and the code of conduct violations of Carrie Ann. Let her continue saying what she's saying, because everything she says is self-implicating and non-reciprocal when it comes to us. Okay, so let me make this other comment about the military, and I just might drop some tidbits in every video about the military, but I'm choosing to tell you about this because it's related to this situation that's going on. While our father was in the military, we were on the receiving end of race attacking by the next door neighbor. We were living on base, and the wife slash mother was calling us, the kids, niggers. That went all the way to the base commander. They didn't care that the wife slash mother was from another country. They dealt with that service member. It was a very serious matter, but let me tell you what happened as a result. While this was all being worked out, our dad told us you cannot play outside. If you're going to play outside, it's got to be, there were like 3 houses down, some kids that we played with, or we would have to go to the park. We could not be outside. And if that woman said anything at all to us, doesn't matter if it's hi, bye, whatever she says, you were to completely ignore her. Do not say a word. When her kids try to come up to you, because we didn't have any problem with her kids. We actually sometimes played with the kids. Do not talk to these kids about this. Do not play with her kids at school. People knew about it. It was all over the place. If somebody comes up and tries to ask you about it or talks to you about it, you are to tell them what I said. Our dad says we are not supposed to talk about this. Now, do you see how those lessons carry through in life? This was actually a model as we progressed on in life. Do not let anybody get you to go off, act a fool behind calling you any names, especially nigger. They're doing that specifically to get you to react in a certain way that's going to be to your detriment. Now, as far as nigger and nigga, I don't use the word. It's not part of my vocabulary. It never really has. I don't have any objection to anybody using that word as long as they are black. And that's what they decide to do. It's free speech. It's free speech for everybody. I'm talking about a personal preference. The bottom line is this: no matter what anybody says, no matter what any name they call me, they are absolutely not going to get me in a position where I would compromise myself. And this is the whole scenario we're talking about here in and around these YouTube streets. It's not going to matter how horrendous, how vile, how disgusting any commentary or any words or descriptors are made about me or those I care about. It's never going to be on an equal plane verbally. It's never going to be on an equal plane reactionary. The main thing to keep in mind, everyone out there, you got to know what your line is. Establish a firm line and act upon that boundary being crossed. And that is the situation we have here. Carrie Anne crossed the boundary many times, but the reaction was not going to be towards her. She never got a reciprocal response. Never. She will never be able to say that we replicated her conduct. Never. I have a right to give an opinion if anybody comes on YouTube and I think they're conducting themselves in an uncouth, unladylike, and vulgar manner. I can make commentary on that, and I did. That is not sexual harassment if you say someone's behavior is deplorable, disrespectful, degrading, and all the other descriptors that Carrie Ann exhibited. I want to reemphasize how she's trying to use, let me see your handcuffs, boilerplate. I'm harassed. Well, again, it's going to come down to her lying to her employer because we have essentially every single one of her videos. So go ahead and lie, Carrie Ann, to your employer. Whatever you want to say or do, you're not going to get a response that's reciprocal. You were warned over a period of 2 years, and we decided when the time was right to address you through your employer. What you did is to yourself. It is not between me and Carrie Ann. It is not between Carrie Ann and Rev G or Breaking the Culture of Silence or Stargate or whoever else out there. She has made derogatory comments against. It's between Carrie Ann and the Code of Conduct and the school district. That's who it's between. It has got nothing to do with our conduct. Independent of our conduct, Carrie Ann has standards that she's supposed to be abiding by according to the State Department of Ed and the school district, the state and federal government. That's the bottom line. It doesn't have anything to do with us. Her behavior is independent of what she claims we have done to her. Even if it was true, how does that justify her attacking entire groups of people who are protected by the federal government? It doesn't. Any rate, people, it's not even relevant because it isn't even true. For her to run around and say she was doxxed, she wasn't doxxed. And we have the entire video where she sat there and spoke her own name. She has her name up here in these YouTube streets and gave us her last name, which is Wilson. She gave the name. At any rate, even if she didn't, anyone can give a public servant's name for them to be reported. One of the police officers who came here to take a crime report stated there was an officer in the department that was going through it because someone that he arrested found out who he was and on Facebook was posting messages about him, talking all kinds of shit. And he was saying he was doxxed. And the department is saying, no, you're not doxxed. There's no way we can do anything about this because it's a constitutionally protected right for someone to speak your name. Just speaking your name is not doxing. You are already there in the public domain. You're a police officer. You have a Facebook account. Although the account didn't say, I'm a police officer. He found out who he was And the department is saying this is not doxing. If a white police officer can't get his department to agree that he's doxed, how are you, Carrie Ann, going to pull this off when you said your own name? I'm going to give you more details about that situation in another video, but I wanted to point that out, that Carrie Ann does not have privileges over and above anyone. She gave her name to everybody here in these YouTube streets, and even if she didn't, she is a rogue public servant. And her name, where she works, all of that is accessible on social media. I have much more coming your way. In the meantime, you know the drill. Buyer beware.